This marriage was already over before the crash. In 1996, the world believed it was witnessing the perfect couple. John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. But their marriage ended in just 3 years. And the reason was not the accident. In fact, long before the crash, they were already living apart. On the day of the crash, he took off under conditions he never should have flown in. So why did he do it? And why was this marriage already broken long before the accident? This is the story that would later be remembered as a love story. But the truth is, it was nothing like what we imagine. Today, we uncover the reality behind this perfect couple, a reality no one ever talks about. For Carolyn, this marriage was never the peak of happiness. It was the beginning of hell. Every time she stepped outside, dozens of paparazzi were waiting, shouting, flashing, watching her with no escape. Eventually, she stopped leaving her home at all. A golden cage. And between them, there was always a third presence. John's sister, Caroline Kennedy. One side tried to protect the family's perfect image, while the other just wanted to be free. That conflict could never be resolved. And every time John chose his sister, Carolyn's loneliness only grew deeper. Until eventually, she turned to something else to fill the void. Meanwhile, John, instead of rejecting the paparazzi, he used them for his own magazine. The very thing that was breaking his wife. He never let go of it. That difference in how they saw the world would ultimately destroy their relationship. In 1999, their relationship had reached its limit. There was a heated argument in Central Park, a fight over the engagement ring, and it was all captured on camera. By then, they were already living apart, and divorce was only a matter of time. Then came the day that would change everything. July 16, 1999. John was preparing to take off, heading to his cousin's wedding. But Carolyn refused. The world of the Kennedy family had become nothing but pain for her. It was Lauren, his sister, who stepped in. She tried to bring them back together, urging Carolyn to reconsider. But her resistance never faded. Even at the very last moment, she remained fixated on something as small as blue nail polish. And those few minutes of delay would ultimately lead them into the fog of death. John was in terrible condition. His ankle was broken, and he wasn't even qualified for night flying. His instructor had warned him he shouldn't fly alone. But he refused to listen. On the ground, he was already losing everything. His marriage, his reputation, even control over himself. He could no longer control anything in his life. But the sky was different. It was the only place where he still felt in control. So he chose to fly. But that decision would ultimately end everything. Night over the ocean. Fog. Visibility is completely gone. The horizon disappears. And the sense of up and down begins to collapse. You can no longer tell whether you're climbing or falling. That is spatial disorientation. The instruments shook. Her senses betrayed her. And reality began to distort. Then, the aircraft lost control. It fell. When it was found on the ocean floor, John was still strapped into the cockpit. But Carolyn and Lauren, inside the breaking aircraft, were found as if clinging to each other. Until the very end. She never wanted to be there. And in those final minutes, she had no control over anything. Not even a single choice. In those final minutes, as they sank into the dark ocean, what did she feel? What did she see? The answer still lies at the bottom of the Atlantic. The world told this story as a beautiful tragedy. But the reality was different. After the accident, the families fought over John's alleged pilot error. They filed a lawsuit seeking massive damages. The families of those who once loved each other turned against one another over money and responsibility. In the end, it was settled for $15 million. That was the reality of this story. If only that day, just a few minutes earlier, if only he had listened to the warning. But history has no what if. What remains is only the record of two people broken inside a cage called perfection. Follow for the dark truth behind your favorite stories.